So I lost 70 pounds. And when I tell people this, they often right away want to know, how did I do that and how long did it take me? And when they learn that it only took me 5 months to lose 70 pounds, most of them think that I did something ridiculous, unhealthy to lose the weight. Today I want to share 3 tips that I use to lose 70 pounds in a healthy way. Hello, Wellness Warriors. Welcome to Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. The reason I make these videos is because when your mental health and physical health are working well together, that's when we have that sense of well-being. If this is something that you're working on, subscribe because I make new videos every week. So I'm going to do these tips backwards, starting with number 3, eat when you're hungry. It is really important for us to learn to eat when we're hungry and follow our body. And yet I understand that most of us work in jobs where lunchtime is a certain time, and if you don't eat at that time, you're risking not being able to eat something. So now we're trying to figure out, how do we balance our health with a rule a company has? When I first started doing a healthier lifestyle, I was in the fortunate, lucky position that my lunchtime was determined by me. What I figured out by eating when I was hungry was this. We have a tendency to schedule things in our head and say, that's when I'm going to do it. And so if I schedule myself to eat at 1 every day, I will set my schedule up that way. And then I will eat at 1 every day, whether I'm hungry or not, because it's lunchtime. And that's what I'm supposed to do. And so psychologically, we start to feel hungry when 1 o'clock is approaching. But are we really hungry? So the first thing that I realized is that when I started to eat properly and I allowed myself to engage this idea, which I was told that we should eat when we're hungry, I started to realize that the better I was eating, the less likely it was that I was hungry at breakfast. But then I started to realize I wasn't hungry at lunch. The funny thing about eating when I'm hungry is that it actually put me in the position of eating fewer meals. So by only eating when I was hungry, it allowed me to increase the time between meals. That's important because that means that I'm not rising my insulin with every meal, because every time you eat anything, your insulin rises. But if there's carbohydrates in that meal, it rises even more. So I'm keeping the amount of insulin rises low. The other thing that it is, because I only eat when I'm hungry, and when I say eat, I mean eat a meal, I eliminated my snacking. There aren't any meals between meals because we want to keep our insulin levels low, or normal, we should say. I want to keep them normal. The other thing that I get from only eating when I'm hungry is that if I happen to get hungry at a moment that I'm not able to eat, there isn't a crisis. And that's important for us to learn, that I'm not going to have a crisis just because I can't eat right now. What happens is you feel hungry for a few moments. For me, it lasted maybe a minute, and then it seemed to go away. And I'm sure you've all lived that story where you feel hungry, but you're busy at work, or something's happening with the children, or for some reason you can't go eat. And then next thing you know, it's 3 hours later and I haven't eaten anything, because your body will tap in to the fat that's already on board. So by allowing myself to only eat when hungry, I diminished the number of snacks I was having because those got taken out of the story. I went longer between meals. And then if I happened to be busy at the moment that I wanted to eat that first time, I allowed my body to tap into the fat that's on me. Okay, so keeping in mind that I was still eating 2 meals a day for a good portion of time before I went down to 1 meal a day. The second important thing that I did that helped me to lose weight in 5 months, so 70 pounds, 5 months, was I stopped eating when I was satiated. We are programmed, at least I know in my family, we were programmed to eat till we were full, stuffed, bursting, because we had to finish that plate because of those poor children in insert country that your parent used to say, who didn't have food to eat. But the truth of the matter is, me torturing myself, me increasing my weight doesn't help those poor children who don't have food. By learning to stop eating when I'm no longer feeling hungry, I actually put myself in the position where I'm not giving my body excess fat, carbs, and protein that it needs to manage. If you overeat, even if you overeat fat and protein, Your body then has to store that energy away, store those proteins away because you overate. As if you overeat, you're going to gain. So by learning to stop eating when I'm satiated, I actually put myself in a position where my body didn't need to store, and therefore, again, I was able to lose the weight in a much more reasonable amount of time. The number one thing that I did to lose weight in 5 months was actually focusing on my health. I did not start this process to lose weight. Now, luckily for me, I did lose weight. In reality, I started this process because I had a hip issue that I needed to solve, and I learned that carbohydrates were causing my hip issue. Now, along the way of learning that carbohydrates were causing my hip issue, I also learned that carbohydrates help us to store fat. But while I was trying to solve my hip issue, I was not focused on losing weight. And as a matter of fact, when my hip issue was solved, I was still overweight. So the reason that I continued to keep my carbohydrates low had nothing to do with me wanting to lose weight, but everything to do with why I lost it. You see, I was so focused on making sure that my hip issue did not return that I kept my carbohydrates at 20 grams of carbs or less. Now, in doing that, my weight came down. So being healthy helped me to lose the 70 pounds. But that wasn't my goal. So the number one thing I actually did to lose the weight was focused on being healthy. And all of it came together because once I understood that eating more than 20 grams of carbs in a day was causing my inflammation, then figuring out how do I make sure that I only eat 20 grams of carbs or less became a high priority because I wanted my hip to feel good. I wanted to be able to snowboard and ride my bike and longboard and ski and all the fun things I do with my daughter. Go climbing, tree climbing, and all the things that we do. And in order to do that, I learned that if I eat to satiation, if I eat low glycemic vegetables, if I focus on getting my energy from fat instead of carbohydrate, and I only eat when I'm hungry, so no snacking, all that stuff, my hip would stay better. That motivated me to adopt this new lifestyle and stay with it. We are January of 2021, and I've been doing this since April of 2018. You can lose weight in a reasonable amount of time and keep it off if you eat a healthy, low carb diet, so 20 grams of carbs or less, eat to satiation, only eat when hungry, and focus on having fun by doing activities and engaging with friends. Wellness Warriors, if you found this message was helpful, please like the video. That really does help. And share it with people that you know who could benefit from this message. Share it on your Facebook. Share it on any of your social media. I would love for you to do that. There are videos on the screen right here that are going to help you to improve your health. I want to thank you for watching Mind Blowing Health and Wellness with Violet. I'm always so happy that my Wellness Warriors come back. I can't wait to talk to you guys again next week.